The plate flew through the air. Porcelain, white, fine china from France, with a perfectly cooked filet mignon on it. $75 worth. In 1964, that was a family's weekly groceries, a car payment, rent in some neighborhoods. The plate passed inches from the waitress's head, so close she felt the wind hit the wall behind her. Shattered into 100 pieces. The sound echoed through the restaurant like a gunshot. But John Wayne didn't freeze. He stood up, slowly, deliberately, placed his napkin on the table, and walked. Not rushed, not panicked. That iconic Wayne walk, steady, heavy, purposeful, straight toward the man who'd thrown the plate. This man was Lawrence Keller, 52 years old, gray hair slicked back, $2,000 suit, Rolex Presidential on his wrist, Columbia Pictures producer, one of the most powerful men in Los Angeles. Someone you didn't cross, someone you didn't challenge, untouchable. But Wayne didn't care, because that man had just thrown a plate at a 22-year-old waitress. And before that, he'd grabbed her wrist, hard enough to leave marks. And John Wayne had never raised a hand to a woman in his life, and he sure as hell wasn't going to watch someone else do it. The next 3 minutes would go down in Hollywood history. Witnesses would talk about it for decades. But it would never make the papers, never make the gossip columns, never become an official story. Because the next day, John Wayne would be banned from that restaurant forever. The place he'd eaten at once a week for 12 years. And 60 years later, that waitress, now 82 years old, still tells the story, through tears, to anyone who'll listen. Duke saved me, she says. He risked everything, his reputation, his career, his favorite place in the world, for me, a nobody, a stranger. This is that story. March 12, 1964, Thursday evening. Chasen's restaurant, Beverly Hills, California. The sun was setting over Los Angeles. The smog that usually choked the city had cleared. It was one of those rare, beautiful California evenings where everything looked golden. But inside Chasen's, the atmosphere was thick with something else. Power, money, fame. The scent of expensive cologne mixed with even more expensive wine. The quiet murmur of deals being made, careers being built, secrets being shared. If you were important in 1960s Hollywood, you went to Chasen's. It wasn't optional. It was mandatory. Elizabeth Taylor had their famous chili flown to her on movie sets. In Rome, in London, private jet, special container. That's how good it was. Frank Sinatra had his own table, back corner, always reserved. Didn't matter if he was coming or not, it stayed empty just in case. Alfred Hitchcock came every Thursday at exactly 6:15 p.m., ordered the same meal, sat in the same booth, like clockwork. James Dean had eaten his last meal here in 1955, September 30, hours before he got in that Porsche and drove to his death. Chasen's wasn't just a restaurant, it was an institution, a status symbol, a temple of Hollywood power. And if you were banned from Chasen's, your career was over, finished. You became persona non grata. Nobody. John Wayne was a Chasen's regular, had been since 1952. 12 years, came once a week, sometimes twice, always Thursday nights, always the same time, 7:30 p.m., always table 14, back to the wall, facing the exit and the front door. It was an old habit, from the westerns. Never sit with your back to the door. You need to see who's coming, who's going, who's watching. That night, he arrived right on schedule. 7:30 p.m., pulled up in his Cadillac, navy blue, immaculate. He was wearing a suit, dark blue, custom tailored, white shirt, no tie. John Wayne hated ties, strangling contraptions he called them, made for bankers and undertakers. At the door, he was greeted by Richard, the maitre d', small man, impeccable posture. Had worked at Chasen's for 20 years. Good evening, Mr. Wayne. Wonderful to see you as always. Evening, Richard. How's the family? Very well, sir. Thank you for asking. Your table is ready. Wayne walked through the restaurant. Heads turned. They always did. He was John Wayne. 6'4", 250 pounds. That presence that filled a room without trying. He nodded to familiar faces. Gregory Peck in the corner. Cary Grant near the bar. A studio executive whose name he couldn't remember but whose face he recognized. Table 14. His table. He sat down, settled into the leather chair. Comfortable, familiar. He could see the entire restaurant from here. The front door, the bar, the kitchen entrance, everything. He didn't need to look at the menu. Never did. He ordered the same thing every time. He waited for George. George had been his waiter for 8 years. Knew his order by heart. Knew when to talk and when to stay quiet. Knew that Wayne liked his steak medium rare, his potatoes with extra butter, his vegetables plain. But that night, George didn't come. Instead, a young woman approached. Early 20s, blonde hair pulled back in a neat ponytail, nervous smile. She was holding a notepad like it might jump out of her hands. "Good evening, Mr. Wayne. My name is Sarah. I'll be serving you tonight." Wayne looked up, smiled. That famous Wayne smile, the one that put people at ease. "Hello, Sarah. Where's George? He feeling all right?" "Oh, he's sick, sir. The flu. He should be back tomorrow." "That's too bad. Tell him I hope he feels better." "I will, sir. Thank you." Sarah pulled out her notepad. "What can I get for you this evening?" Wayne gave his usual order. Filet mignon, medium rare, mashed potatoes, extra butter, green beans plain, glass of red wine, Cabernet. Sarah wrote it down carefully. Her handwriting was neat, precise. "I'll get that right in for you, sir. Thank you, Sarah." She hurried away toward the kitchen. Wayne watched her go. She reminded him of his daughter. Same age, same eagerness, same nervous energy of someone trying to do everything perfectly. The first 20 minutes were smooth. Sarah brought his wine, brought his bread, checked on him once, asked if everything was okay. It was. Wayne relaxed, started to enjoy his evening. This was his sanctuary, his escape from the chaos of Hollywood. The sets, the scripts, the constant demands. Here, he was just a customer, just a man having dinner. But then he noticed something. Across the restaurant, table 11, near the window, a man, sitting alone, expensive suit, Rolex watch catching the light. Wayne recognized him. Lawrence Keller, Columbia Pictures, producer. They'd never worked together. Wayne had heard stories, none of them good. Keller was drunk, not falling down drunk, but that loose, aggressive drunk, where inhibitions disappear and the worst parts of a person come out. And Sarah was walking toward his table. Wayne watched. Sarah approached. "Good evening, sir. May I take your order?" Keller looked up at her, and his eyes did something that made Wayne's jaw tighten. They roamed, slowly, deliberately, up and down Sarah's body, lingering, assessing, like she was livestock at an auction. "Hello, sweetheart." Keller's voice was loud, slurred slightly. "You're new here, aren't you?" "Yes, sir. I've been here about 3 weeks." 3 weeks? Keller leaned back in his chair, grinned. "And let me guess, you're an actress, right? Or trying to be?" Sarah's face flushed. "Yes, sir. I take acting classes during the day." "Of course you do." Keller laughed. Not a kind laugh, a mocking one. "You're all the same. Coming from where?" "Oklahoma. Kansas? Some flyover state. Coming to Hollywood. Big dreams. Gonna be a star." Sarah shifted uncomfortably. "May I take your order, sir?" Wait. Don't rush off, sweetheart. Talk to me a little. Sit down." "I'm working, sir. I can't." "I said sit down." Sarah glanced around nervously. Other diners were watching now, but no one was moving. No one was helping. "Sir, I really need to take your order." That's when Keller reached out. Fast. Grabbed Sarah's wrist. His fingers wrapped around it. Tight. Too tight. "Listen to me, little girl." His voice dropped. Quieter. More dangerous. "Do you know who I am?" "No, sir. I'm Lawrence Keller, Columbia Pictures. I'm a producer. I make stars. I can make you a star. You understand?" Sarah tried to pull her wrist back. Couldn't. His grip was too strong. "Sir, please let go. Come to my office tomorrow. 3 p.m. Beverly Hills. I'll give you a role. A real role. Speaking lines. Screen time. But you have to be nice to me. You understand what I mean by nice?" Sarah's eyes were watering now. "Sir, please, do you understand?" From across the restaurant, John Wayne was on his feet. He'd seen enough. Sarah finally yanked her wrist free, stumbled back. Her notepad fell, scattered across the floor. I'm sorry, sir. Let me just take your order." Keller's face turned red. That drunk rage. "Who the hell do you think you are? I'm just trying to do my job. You're a nobody. A waitress. And you're disrespecting me?" Keller grabbed his plate. The one in front of him, still full. Filet mignon, untouched, expensive, and threw it, hard. The plate spun through the air, passed within inches of Sarah's head. She felt the displacement of air, felt how close it came. The plate hit the wall behind her, exploded. Porcelain shards everywhere. Food splattered across the expensive wallpaper. Wine sauce dripping down like blood. The sound was deafening in the quiet restaurant. Everything stopped. Every conversation. Every movement. Every fork halfway to every mouth. 50 people. Frozen. Staring. Sarah screamed. Stumbled backward. Her heel caught. She fell. Hard. Onto the floor. Keller stood up. Started moving toward her. His fists clenched. You little. But he didn't finish the sentence, because a hand came out of nowhere. Large. Powerful. Clamped down on Keller's shoulder like a vice. Spun him around. John Wayne. Up close, Wayne was even more imposing. 6'4", broad shoulders. That weathered granite face. Eyes that had stared down 1,000 movie villains. But this wasn't a movie. Don't touch that woman. Wayne's voice was low, but there was steel underneath. The kind of calm that's more frightening than yelling. Keller blinked. Focused. Recognition dawned. Wayne, what the hell? This doesn't concern you. I said don't touch her. Wayne took a step forward. Keller instinctively took a step back. The restaurant was completely silent now. You could hear the kitchen sounds. Pans clanking. Orders being called. But in the dining room, nothing. Just breathing. That girl is here to work, Wayne said. She deserves respect. You grabbed her. You threw something at her. That makes it my business. Keller looked around. Saw everyone watching. Saw he couldn't back down. Not here. Not in front of all these people. His reputation was at stake. Wayne, you need to back off. I'm a producer at Columbia Pictures. I could ruin you. Wayne smiled. But it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the smile of someone who'd been in real fights. Who'd grown up poor in Iowa. Who'd worked as a prop man. Who'd hauled furniture and taken punches. Go ahead and try. Are you threatening me? No. I'm telling you the truth. You're going to apologize to that girl. Right now. And then you're going to leave. Apologize. Keller laughed. Loud. Fake. To her. She's nobody. A waitress. She should be grateful I even looked at her. Keller was drunk. Not falling down drunk. But that loose, aggressive drunk where inhibitions disappear. The worst parts of a person come out. And Sarah was walking toward his table. Wayne watched. Sarah approached. Good evening, sir. May I take your order? Keller looked up at her. And his eyes did something that made Wayne's jaw tighten. They roamed, slowly, deliberately, up and down Sarah's body, lingering, assessing, like she was livestock at an auction. Hello, sweetheart. Keller's voice was loud, slurred slightly. You're new here, aren't you? Yes, sir. I've been here about 3 weeks. 3 weeks? Keller leaned back in his chair, grinned. And let me guess, you're an actress, right? Or trying to be. Sarah's face flushed. Yes, sir. I take acting classes during the day. Of course you do. Keller laughed, not a kind laugh. A mocking one. You're all the same. Coming from where? Oklahoma, Kansas. Some flyover state. Coming to Hollywood. Big dreams. Gonna be a star. Sarah shifted uncomfortably. May I take your order, sir? Wait. Don't rush off, sweetheart. Talk to me a little. Sit down. I'm working, sir. I can't. I said sit down. Sarah glanced around nervously. Other diners were watching now. But no one was moving. No one was helping. Sir, I really need to take your order. That's when Keller reached out. Fast. Grabbed Sarah's wrist. His fingers wrapped around it. Tight. Too tight. Listen to me, little girl. His voice dropped. Quieter. More dangerous. Do you know who I am? No, sir. I'm Lawrence Keller. Columbia Pictures. I'm a producer. I make stars. I can make you a star. You understand? Sarah tried to pull her wrist back. Couldn't. His grip was too strong. Sir, please let go. Come to my office tomorrow. 3 p.m. Beverly Hills. I'll give you a role. A real role. Speaking lines. Screen time. But you have to be nice to me. You understand what I mean by nice? Sarah's eyes were watering now. Sir, please, do you understand? From across the restaurant, John Wayne was on his feet. He'd seen enough. Sarah finally yanked her wrist free. Stumbled back. Her notepad fell. Scattered across the floor. I'm sorry, sir. Let me just take your order. Keller's face turned red. That drunk rage. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm just trying to do my job. You're a nobody. A waitress. And you're disrespecting me? Keller grabbed his plate. The one in front of him. Still full. Filet mignon. Untouched. Expensive. and threw it. Hard. The plate spun through the air, passed within inches of Sarah's head. She felt the displacement of air, felt how close it came. The plate hit the wall behind her, exploded. Porcelain shards everywhere. Food splattered across the expensive wallpaper. Wine sauce dripping down like blood. The sound was deafening in the quiet restaurant. Everything stopped. Every conversation, every movement, every fork halfway to every mouth. 50 people, frozen, staring. Sarah screamed, stumbled backward. Her heel caught. She fell, hard, onto the floor. Keller stood up, started moving toward her, his fists clenched. "You little." But he didn't finish the sentence. Because a hand came out of nowhere. Large, powerful, clamped down on Keller's shoulder like a vice. Spun him around. John Wayne. Up close, Wayne was even more imposing. 6'4", broad shoulders, that weathered granite face, eyes that had stared down 1,000 movie villains. But this wasn't a movie. "Don't touch that woman." Wayne's voice was low, calm, but there was steel underneath. The kind of calm that's more frightening than yelling. Keller blinked, focused. Recognition dawned. "Wayne? What the hell? This doesn't concern you. I said don't touch her." Wayne took a step forward. Keller instinctively took a step back. The restaurant was completely silent now. You could hear the kitchen sounds. Pans clanking. Orders being called. But in the dining room, nothing. Just breathing. "That girl is here to work," Wayne said. "She deserves respect. You grabbed her. You threw something at her. That makes it my business." Keller looked around. Saw everyone watching. Saw he couldn't back down. Not here. Not in front of all these people. His reputation was at stake. "Wayne, you need to back off. I'm a producer at Columbia Pictures. I could ruin you." Wayne smiled. But it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the smile of someone who'd been in real fights, who'd grown up poor in Iowa, who'd worked as a prop man, who'd hauled furniture and taken punches. "Go ahead and try. Are you threatening me?" "No, I'm telling you the truth. You're going to apologize to that girl, right now. And then you're going to leave." "Apologize?" Keller laughed. Loud, fake. "To her. She's nobody. A waitress. She should be grateful I even looked at her." Wayne's jaw muscles tightened. For a moment, everyone in that restaurant thought they were about to see John Wayne throw his first real punch in decades. "That woman," Wayne said quietly, "is a human being. She has a name. Sarah. She works hard. She's polite. She doesn't deserve to be grabbed, or threatened, or have plates thrown at her." He leaned in closer. "Now you're going to apologize, or I'm going to drag you out of this restaurant by your expensive collar. Your choice." Keller swallowed, looked at Wayne, really looked, saw something that scared him. This wasn't a bluff. Richard the maitre d' came running over. "Gentlemen, please, this is Chasen's. We are a respectable establishment." Keller pointed at Wayne. "This man is assaulting me." "I haven't touched you," Wayne said calmly. "Yet." That "yet" hung in the air. Keller's face was purple now, but he knew he was cornered. He looked around the restaurant, saw Cary Grant watching, Gregory Peck, a dozen other faces he recognized. He'd lost. "Fine," Keller spat. "You win, Wayne. Congratulations. But tomorrow morning, I'm making calls. Every studio in this town, every producer. You'll never work for Columbia, and I'll make sure Warner Brothers knows what you did. Paramount, Universal, all of them." Wayne shrugged. "I'll survive. We'll see about that." Keller grabbed his jacket, stormed toward the exit. The door slammed behind him. The restaurant stayed silent for 5 more seconds. Then everyone started breathing again. Wayne turned around. Sarah was still on the floor, shaking, tears streaming down her face. Wayne walked over, knelt down. His knees creaked. He was 64 years old, and he'd done 1,000 stunts. His body reminded him daily. He extended his hand. "Come on, sweetheart. It's over. You're safe." Sarah looked at his hand, then at his face, and started crying harder. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wayne. I didn't mean to cause trouble." "You didn't cause anything. That man did. Now come on. Let's get you up." Sarah took his hand. It was warm, calloused, strong. He pulled her up gently. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much. You don't need to thank me. Any decent person would have done the same." But they both knew that wasn't true. 50 people in that restaurant. Only one had stood up. Richard rushed over. His face was pale, sweating. "Mr. Wayne, What have you done? Wayne looked at him. I stopped a man from hurting one of your employees. You're welcome. But Lawrence Keller is one of our most important customers. He spends thousands here. And he's very connected, very powerful. I don't care if he's connected to the president. He was hurting Sarah. The owner is going to be furious. Then I'll talk to the owner. Richard wrung his hands. Mr. Wayne, you don't understand. Mr. Keller he's threatening to boycott us. To get all of Colombia to boycott us. That's dozens of executives. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wayne stared at him. Are you saying I should have let him hurt her? No. Of course not. But maybe you could have been more diplomatic. Wayne laughed. Bitter. Diplomatic. Right. I'll remember that next time I see a woman being assaulted. He turned to Sarah. Are you okay? Did he hurt your wrist? Sarah looked at her wrist. It was red, already starting to bruise. Keller's fingers had left marks. It'll be fine. No, it won't. Go put ice on that. And if he ever comes near you again, you call me. Understand? Sarah nodded. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Wayne. Call me Duke. Thank you, Duke. Wayne walked back to his table. Sat down. His steak had gone cold. He didn't care. He wasn't hungry anymore. Around him, the restaurant slowly came back to life. Conversations resumed. Quieter now. Everyone was talking about what they'd just seen. John Wayne, the Duke, had just stood up to one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood. For a waitress, everyone knew what this meant. The next morning, March 13, 1964. Friday. Wayne was at home in Newport Beach, having breakfast on his patio, overlooking the ocean, reading the newspaper. The phone rang. His secretary, Mary, answered in the other room. He heard her muffled voice. Then she appeared at the door. Her face was tight. Duke, it's Dave Chasen. He wants to talk to you. Wayne put down his newspaper, picked up the phone. Dave? Duke. Dave Chasen's voice was strained, tired. I'm so sorry, but I have bad news. Wayne already knew. Go ahead. Lawrence Keller called the owner last night. At home. Screamed for an hour. He's demanding that we ban you from the restaurant. Silence on the line. Duke, are you there? I'm here. Duke, I don't want to do this. You're one of my best customers. You've been coming here for 12 years. But Keller, he's threatening to pull all of Columbia Pictures. Every executive. Every producer. That's a huge portion of our business. I understand, Dave. The owner is insisting. He says if we don't ban you, we'll lose too much money. I fought for you, Duke. I really did. But it's okay, Dave. You're running a business. Maybe in a few months when this all blows over we can. Wayne smiled. Sad. Sure, Dave. Maybe. But they both knew that wouldn't happen. Wayne hung up. Mary was standing in the doorway. What did he say? I'm banned from Chasen's. What? Forever? Apparently. But you go there every week. Not anymore. Mary shook her head. This is insane. You were protecting that girl. I know. Was it worth it? Mary asked. Losing your favorite restaurant? Wayne stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the Pacific Ocean, waves crashing, seagulls calling. Yeah, he said quietly. It was worth it, but the story wasn't over, because Lawrence Keller wanted revenge, real revenge. That same day, Friday afternoon, Keller sat in his office at Columbia Pictures. Massive desk, leather chair, awards on the wall, power. He started making calls. First, Universal Studios. Ask for Jack Harrison, head of production. Jack, it's Larry Keller. Listen, we need to talk about John Wayne. What about him? He assaulted me last night. At Chasen's. In front of 50 witnesses. He what? Keller spun the story. Made himself the victim. Wayne the aggressor. Carefully left out the part about Sarah. The grabbing. The plate. We need to send a message, Jack. If Wayne thinks he can attack producers, what's next? We need to blacklist him. But Jack Harrison paused. Larry, Wayne is huge. His films make millions. I can't just. Yes, you can. And you should. For all of us. Similar conversations happened all day. Warner Brothers, Paramount, MGM. But the response was always the same. Wayne was too valuable, too big, too profitable. The blacklist attempt failed. Keller was furious. But he had one more card to play. Sarah Mitchell. 1 week later. April 1964. Sarah was still working at Chasen's. But everything had changed. After that night, she'd become something of a hero among the staff. The girl John Wayne had defended. The servers whispered about it. The kitchen staff asked for details. Sarah told the story so many times she started to feel like she was making it up, but her wrist reminded her it was real. The bruises had turned yellow, fading but still there. She was happy, grateful, but also scared, because she knew Lawrence Keller was powerful, and powerful men didn't forget humiliation. She was right to be scared. A week after the incident, Sarah's agent called. The woman who'd signed her 6 months ago, who'd promised to make her a star. "Sarah, I have some news." "Good news." "No, I'm afraid we can no longer represent you." Sarah felt her stomach drop. "What? Why? You're not the right fit for our agency." "But you said I had potential." "You said." "I'm sorry, Sarah. I wish you the best." Click. Sarah stared at the phone, then started calling other agencies. Everyone she could find in the phone book. "I'm sorry, we're not taking new clients. You're not quite what we're looking for. Perhaps try again in a year." After the 10th rejection, Sarah understood. Keller had blacklisted her. That night, Sarah sat in her tiny apartment in Hollywood. One room, shared bathroom down the hall, $60 a month. She cried. Her dream was dying. She'd come to Hollywood with such hope, such determination. And now, because she'd refused a producer's advance, she was done. The next day at Chasen's, she moved through her shift like a zombie, smiling, taking orders, but inside, she was broken, until Richard found her in the back. "Sarah, someone left this for you, an envelope, her name on the front." She opened it. Inside, a note, handwriting, neat, clear. "Sarah, I heard what happened with your agent. I'm sorry, but don't give up. You're talented. I can tell. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., Warner Brothers Studio, Gate 7. Ask for me. We need to talk. Duke." Sarah's hands shook as she read it twice, 3 times. John Wayne wanted to see her. The next day, Sarah stood at Gate 7 of Warner Brothers, 1:55 p.m., 5 minutes early. She was wearing her best dress, had practiced what she'd say, was terrified. At exactly 2 p.m., the gate opened. John Wayne walked out. He wasn't in costume, just regular clothes, jeans, button-down shirt, cowboy hat. He saw her, smiled. "Sarah, you came. Good. Mr. Wayne, walk with me." They walked through the studio lot, past sound stages, past trailers, past sets being built. "Sarah, I'm going to be honest with you. What happened at Chasen's, it had consequences. I know. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. I'm not sorry. But Lawrence Keller is a vindictive man. He's blacklisted you. That's the truth." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I know, but here's what else is true. Keller doesn't control everything. He controls Columbia. That's it. One studio." Wayne stopped walking, turned to face her. "I have my own production company, Batjack Productions. It's small, but it's mine, and I'm shooting a Western right now. The Sons of Katie Elder. Small role, a barmaid, 3 scenes. You interested?" Sarah couldn't breathe. "You're offering me a role. I'm offering you an audition. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. If you're good, the role is yours. But I thought." "You thought what? That I'd let Keller destroy you?" "Not happening." Sarah started crying. Thank you so much." Wayne put a hand on her shoulder. "Don't thank me yet. You still have to earn it. Show me you can act." "I will. I promise." "Good. Now go home. Practice, and come ready to work." Sarah killed the audition. She got the role. The Sons of Katie Elder was released in 19. It was a huge success. Sarah's role was small, 3 scenes, maybe 5 minutes of screen time, but she made them count. Critics noticed. Who is Sarah Mitchell? She lights up the screen. This girl has a future. Suddenly, agents were calling again. The blacklist had failed, because John Wayne had given Sarah a chance, and she'd proven herself. Over the next 10 years, Sarah appeared in over 30 films, mostly small roles, character parts, but she worked steady, made a living, and in every film she insisted on a special credit. Special thanks to John Wayne, the man who believed. June 11, 1979. John Wayne died. Cancer, 72 years old. The funeral was massive. 500 people, presidents, actors, directors. Sarah Mitchell was there. She stood in the back, crying, because Wayne hadn't just given her a role, he'd given her hope. When everyone else had abandoned her, he'd stood up, fought for her. She never forgot. Today, Sarah Mitchell is 82 years old, retired, living in Los Angeles. A documentary crew came to interview her about old Hollywood, about the studio system, about John Wayne. The interviewer was young, maybe 25, had no idea who Sarah really was. Miss Mitchell, you worked in Hollywood in the 1960s. What was it like? It was complicated. Did you ever meet John Wayne? Sarah smiled. Meet him? He saved my life. And she told the story. All of it. Chasen's, Keller, the plate, Wayne stepping in, the blacklist, the audition. By the end, the interviewer was crying. That's incredible. Duke really did that? He did. But why? You were a stranger. Sarah thought about that. Because he was a man who did the right thing, even when it cost him. What did it cost him? His favorite restaurant, his Friday nights, a place he'd gone to for 12 years, all gone. Because he defended me. Do you think he regretted it? Sarah shook her head firmly. No. I asked him once. Years later, he said, Sarah, some things matter more than steak. That was Duke. Simple, direct, right. The interviewer leaned forward. What did Wayne teach you? Sarah stood up, walked to a filing cabinet, pulled out a thick folder. Inside, photos, letters, articles. After Wayne died, I made a decision. I would do what he did, help people who couldn't help themselves. She spread the photos on the table. This is Mary, waitress. Her manager was sexually harassing her. I paid for her lawyer. We won. This is Jennifer, young actress. Producer tried to coerce her. I stood by her, helped her say no safely. This is Linda, Amanda, Tracy, Michelle. Sarah had helped over 50 women in 40 years, quietly. No press, no publicity, just doing the right thing. Why didn't you go public? Because Duke didn't. He helped quietly. That's real help, not publicity stunts. You're a hero. Sarah laughed. No, I'm just passing on what Duke taught me. Use whatever power you have to protect people who have none. If you could see Duke now, what would you say? Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I'd say, Duke, that night you didn't just save a waitress. You started a ripple. I saved 50 women. They'll save more? Your one act of courage multiplied into thousands of acts of kindness. Thank you. Chasen's restaurant closed in The building was demolished in 2019, but that night, March 12, 1964, is still remembered, because that night, a legend showed what real heroism looks like. Not on a movie screen, not for cameras, not for applause, just a man, standing up, saying no, this is wrong. Lawrence Keller died in 1987, heart attack, 75 years old, 40 people at his funeral, no tears. John Wayne died in 1979, cancer, 72 years old, 500 people at his funeral. Everyone cried, including a waitress. Sarah left a note on his casket. Duke, you taught me that power is for protecting the weak, that fame is for doing good, that courage is doing the right thing when it costs you everything. I lived by those lessons. Thank you forever. Sarah, in 2019 when they demolished Chasen's, construction workers found something in the wall, a time capsule from 1964. Inside, old menus, photos, letters. One letter stood out, from Dave Chasen to John Wayne, written March 13, 1964. Never sent. Duke, forgive me for banning you. I had no choice, but I want you to know, that night, you did the right thing. I was proud to know you. You're not just an actor. You're a gentleman. I'm sorry. And thank you. Dave, the letter was never sent. Dave was afraid of Keller, of losing business, but he wrote it because he knew the truth. Wayne was right. Today, every March 12, Sarah Mitchell goes to where Chasen's used to be. She brings a flower, leaves it on the sidewalk, and whispers, "Thank you, Duke. You're my hero, forever." Everyone knew what this meant.